Welcome, geeks, to another exciting episode of Rockin the Code World with dotNetDave. I'm dotNetDave, David McCarter. I'm glad you're all here. We were off last week, and guess what I did on my day off? I spent the whole day on the couch, sick, couldn't even barely move. So I guess the moral of that story is don't take days off from doing Rockin the Code World because I just get sick. Anyway, I'm glad you're all here. I hope you're all doing well around the world and staying safe and getting ready for Halloween parties. I don't know if the whole world celebrates Halloween, but we do here in America. And I know it's been different because of the the pandemic, but some people are trying this weekend. So stay safe out there and make sure you have your mask or hand sanitizers with you if you go out trick-or-treating and things like that. So my special guest today is, I hope I don't mispronounce his name. We just talked about this, Jose Javier Columbie. No, see, I messed it up already. He'll have to tell you when we get on the show. He's a DevExpress and Microsoft MVP, and so we're going to be talking about not only DevExpress, but also Blazor, Azure, and maybe even Cuba if we get time to do that, because he's originally from Cuba and lives in Arizona now, where I grew up. So that's pretty cool. So, I just thought of this while the music was playing. So what did you do on your Friday? You know what I did at work on my Friday? Nothing. I woke up yesterday morning and I can't log into my work. Nothing works. And I could, and because they make us use VMs that are locked behind, this login, I couldn't even get to my VM. I couldn't get to email. I couldn't get to Teams, nothing. I could do nothing yesterday. So I just kind of goofed off, played guitar. But I kind of wanted to bring it up because I don't know if you experience this too, especially you contractors out there, but I just don't understand why companies can't get their act together when it comes to not only security with their employees, but especially contractors, because that, even though I didn't do anything yesterday, I still get paid because it's not my fault. And so that's a whole day they have to pay me for doing nothing. And I have no idea if it's going to work on Monday. And, to take that to another extreme is my last company I worked with, which most of you have probably heard of, called Verizon. They're one of the biggest cell phone carriers in America. Last year, I spent a whole month doing nothing and getting paid because they couldn't get their act together. So I just don't understand it. Make a comment if you've experienced this too. I just can't believe it. It's okay. I'm going to stop there. I'm going to keep going on a soapbox. Okay. So I have a brand new article out on CSharpCorner. I hope you will check it out. It's the part 2 of the series of articles I'm doing about memory management in .NET, specifically the iDisposable interface and everything wrapped around that. I'm working on article 3. There might be an article 4. And if you attended my panels show a couple weeks ago, I plan to do the next panel show on this subject. And I'm going to invite the people who actually write this at Microsoft to be on my show. So I haven't reached out to them yet, but I'm going to do that any day now. And hopefully that'll be the next panel. If you did watch the panel show 2 weeks ago, please let me know in a comment or send me an email letting me know how you like the panel, if you want to see more panels like that. And I just thought of it, on the anniversary show, I gave away some copies of my books. And I know one person reached out to me through Twitter, but I cannot find his direct message to me. So those 2 people who won books from me during the anniversary show, please email me. You'll have the email address at the end of the show with your shipping address so I can get that out to you. Because I know shipping is used to be horrible, but it's getting even worse now, especially in America. So please email me and give me your email address. Don't use Twitter because things are getting lost in Twitter for some reason. All right. So I hope you'll check out the new my new article and get it trending on CSharpCorner. There was something else I was going to say. Oh yes. So Javier is a MVP for DevExpress. DevExpress actually makes Code Rush, which I give away at the end of every show. So the cool thing is DevExpress gave Javier a universal subscription to their products worth $2,000 US that we're going to give away at the end of the show. And the way you do that is to make a comment in the chat and use DevExpress in the pound DevExpress. And at the very end of the show, you're going to have to stick around. We're going to pick the winner for that. That's $2,000 US. And there's no shipping involved, so we can give it to anybody in the world. There's no problem. All we need is your email address. So start making comments. It's a good reason for you to comment this week, since we're going to be talking about some of your favorite subjects of Blazor and Azure. So make sure you make some comments, okay? And Simon's not allowed to win. Sorry, Simon. And again, I want to say, please ask questions of the guest. You know, I say this every week, but, you know, I want to make sure you know that this is your show. It's not my show. I know it has my name on it, but we do this show for you. So this show will be better if you ask questions, because I can't read your mind. I don't have that ability. Maybe if you were in the same room with me, maybe I could read your mind, but virtually, I definitely can't read your mind. So make sure you ask questions. No question is a bad question or a dumb question. Don't be shy. Ask any question you want, and we'll try to get it answered during the show. Okay? And with that, I'd like to welcome Jose. Jose is a master of electrical engineering turned .NET developer architect. He's a big DevOps advocate and Xamarin Certified. Jose spends most of his time on training, consulting, and development of Azure-based solutions for enterprise customers. He's passionate about performance, one of my favorite subjects, data access, application design, and DevExpress products, specifically XAF and XPO, which hopefully we'll get some time to explain those to you today. He's also a tech speaker, blogger, and is always pushing to grow the community. And Blazor is his new crush. So welcome, Jose.
Hey, thanks, Dave. I'm really excited to be here.
Sorry, I messed up your name in the beginning of the show.
That everyone does, so that's perfectly fine. So my last name is Columbie, but that's a little hard to pronounce here in the States. So everyone here says like Columbie or Columbia or some type of combination there. So no issue there.
So I'm glad you're on the show, and I asked you to be on the show after watching you on the Cloud Summit, right?
Yeah, that was a great experience, and actually, this is one of the things that really amazed me: the amount of content and the amount of things that the .NET community has. Because I have never heard about this show before the Cloud Summit, and then when I looked for the show, it's a big show. A lot of people looking at it and like, if I am 24/7 in .NET world, so how did I not know about that? And actually, I'm doing a talk on the .NET Conf, and I did a NetConf check. So they do like the check of your camera and everything on.
Right.
And Javier Lozano, that was the guy who did the tech check with me. He just put a tweet about, hey, let's do a conference in Spanish. He didn't knew that we have a big NetConf Latin in Spanish already. So there is so much content that like it's amazing. I'm really, really excited. I think that I would say this is the best time to be a .NET developer. We are everywhere.
.NET's everywhere, and .NET's I think growing in popularity. And even I was watching something on Twitter today because I made a comment on it that they were talking about how fast .NET code how fast .NET is compared to other languages, and Microsoft brings out the slide that .NET is like 10 times faster than Node, right now, I think the only language that is beating .NET is Rust as far as performance goes. So yeah, I think .NET is going to be more and more adopt. I hope. That's what I work on getting people, excited about and trying to do. It's really hard to do that in Southern California, but I'm trying. I'm trying to get companies on board with not specifically .NET, because a lot of people use .NET, but more of the other services like Azure and things like that. Because that's where for me, I'm sure you might feel this way, that the whole world is going to the cloud, and .NET to me is one of the first class citizens in the cloud.
No, absolutely. And actually, I have been developing in .NET for a long time. So I have been like in the States like for 10 years, but even in Cuba, I was doing some .NET. And that was like a long time ago. And in that time, I remember my friends, they used to say like .NET was not the cool thing. So it was like in like 10 years ago, 12 years ago, it was not the cool thing. And I can come back to them right now and say .NET today is running everywhere. It's running on Linux, in Mac, in Windows, it's running on web, it's running in IoT, it's running in a watch, anywhere. So
and little tiny devices now. I just saw a thing this week that you can run .NET on a little tiny board that costs like $30 or $40. I think that's pretty cool. And
you can run it in a Raspberry Pi, you can run it in Arduino, you can do crazy thing. And there is actually an IoT project that is called NetDuino that you run .NET native. So this is beautiful. So, and especially now with MAUI, that you will be able to run also the same code like supported by Microsoft. It's not something like before that it was in Mac, Linux, iOS, and Android. So the future is really brilliant, especially for myself that I like Blazor. MAUI Blazor would be allowed us to do also native development with the Blazor development model. So I'm ecstatic.
Yeah, and quite frankly, since .NET's been around for 20 years, it's not the new cool thing anymore. It's cool, but it's not the new cool thing, because everybody gets, unfortunately gets sucked up in the new thing, and not realizing that new thing might not last very long. But look at .NET; it's been around 20 years. There's no sign of it going away in anytime soon, right? And so.
When I hear someone say like it's not gonna last forever, I always think like we have been reading a file in .NET the same way since like .NET. So right now with Blazor, everyone was like, it's another Silverlight. We're gonna have to. Is this going to die later on? You are using your same .NET skill, your same .NET code, you're saying. So it's not gonna die. You already have like, and they actually are pushing to Net 5, Net 6, Net Core, but they already say Net Framework kind of like will be, they like Scott Hunter, I said that in a talk, he said, I cannot allow to say forever, but basically it will be like for the next 10 years at least.
I think so. I think it's going to be one of those languages for Microsoft like C++, that is always going to be around, in some manner, right? Because it's a powerful platform, even though it might not be as popular anymore. And I'm not talking about .NET, I'm talking about like C++. But I agree.
And not only that, WCF, all those web forms, all those technology that are not moving to NetCore, they are still being used massively in a lot of enterprise. So that's not dying anytime soon. We need to maintain those applications. So again, the future is brilliant. I would say this is a great time to be a .NET developer.
Yeah, I'm glad when Microsoft kind of changed their direction. I don't know if this started when Satya came on board, but Microsoft used to be like a lot of the other big tech companies. We are the only company, we are the only language, like Google and these other companies do today, right? But .NET a while ago started saying, no, we're going to adopt everything. We're going to be, we're going to play well with any language, any platform, anything, right? We're not going to limit ourselves to only us anymore.
And that's a great move. It's like, do it however you feel more comfortable. Do it with the skills that you have. Do it with the tooling that you already know will host it for you. We're going to make our money on the cloud. We don't need and this is like the perfect, that's like you saying, I don't want to train the devs on my team because they might leave. If you think that training at the dev and they leaving is expensive, think about not training them.
Right.
That would be expensive.
Exactly.
So that's,
and they'll leave anyway. they'll leave anyway.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter.
exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, I don't like that thinking. And I actually have a poll up right now asking people if their company pays for continuing education at their company, because one of the things, and I'll talk more about this after the poll is done in a couple of days, but one of the things I'm seeing in companies is less and less and less training budget, right? And a lot of companies, none, right? And so far on my poll, the majority people are saying they don't get any training from their money from their company. It's which is sad to me, because back 20 years ago, even when I started with .NET, I mean, everybody got training. We got to go to conferences, we got to go to class, and even one company I worked at, you could go to class, and depending on what grade is, you got basically determined how much you're going to get reimbursed for that class, right? If you get an A, you get 100%. If you get a B, you get some other percentage, right? But a lot of companies I go to now, they don't provide anything, and I just,
and that's a shame for them, because also
yes.
there is not only, for example, in my opinion, like I'm from Cuba, we had a hard time growing up, so we value everything that we are like. For me, like actually being here is just like a dream come true. But let's think about when you like give that to someone in your team, in your company. That is not about only the money. It's about the gratitude. It's about that I feel that I'm growing up here. I feel like this is like make some type of, I don't know what is the word, but some type of loyalty. That is really important, that your devs feels that they are part of the company, feel that they belong to the company, feel that they are growing in the company. So not doing that is just awful, especially right now today, because let's say that you are a big, small company, you cannot afford like paying the tuition of the college, but you can afford Pluralsight, you can afford Udemy, you can afford LinkedIn Learning. So why not doing that? Like in our company, every Friday we do a meeting, like we train and we say, okay, this time is Jose turns to talk about Blazor, and I explain to everyone about Blazor, and then the other Friday someone else is playing about databases, someone else is playing about Xamarin. So everyone, once they get the training, and not only that, they know who on the team is an expert in this type of technology. So they run into any issue, they know, okay, I'm going to contact Dave because he's the one who knows about it possible. So this type of things, so this is really important, because we are not a company, we are a team now. And at some point we become a family. That's how it works.
And that reminds me of, I think it was a 2-part article that I wrote on my website. It might be on CSharpCorner also, where, it was basically this article, these 2 articles, and I kind of outlined how I would run a software company or a software team, based on my, 30 years of experience, whatever. And one of the things that I said in that article that I wish companies would do is every Friday afternoon, no work, right? It's training or team building or working or hacking something, right? You're doing the hackathon on a Friday or something like that, right? Not this death march to get something released on a Friday, which you should never release anything on a Friday, to me. Mondays and Fridays are the worst days to release anything, right?
Agreed.
Right. So my thing is, everybody's already, by lunchtime on Friday, everybody is already thinking about the weekend, and I know the productivity goes down, because it does for me. And so why not use that time to do something good, like training or team building or something like that, right? Instead of just pound, get it out, so we can get it on the servers this weekend, right? And,
no, absolutely.
Anyway,
And in our company, I always focus, again, I do like everyone to learn about the solid principles. I do like to everyone to learn about the fundamentals. But I always say to them, it's about giving value. So if that gets in the way of we giving value to our clients, we need to go back, look at it, and we need to redesign our system. So yeah, absolutely. The productivity, we cannot kid ourselves, it goes down on Fridays. Everyone is already ready for the family, and for me, family is the first. So I have my daughter, I have my family, and actually I will like one thing that I learned, the client can wait. If I have something with the family, they can wait. For them, it's always urgent. It's always have to be real time. I want the app to do everything real time. It is not. It is not. We need to teach also the clients that no, family comes first, and the same thing for employees. For my opinion, employees are more important than clients.
Yes.
So I always say, like, for our employees, just if you put your effort, if you like show us that you are working hard, the client can send whatever they want. We can explain to them. It's not, we don't have a magic wand that we can just, it's done. And sometimes it's not like I don't know, this is maybe a bad example, but 9 women cannot give a kid in 1 month.
Right.
So
Right.
we need
Exactly.
to tell the client,
Yeah.
we need to tell
Yeah.
the client, hey, this is gonna take a little bit more time, but we cannot take it on our employee. So the employee need to work all weekend because the client needs it for Monday. That's not the
Right.
right approach.
Yeah.
They will leave.
Yeah,
They
you were
will leave.
talking about kind of like the mythical man month, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they will leave.
Or the
for
mythical
sure.
person month now, right?
Yeah.
But let's get to some of the topics before we run out of time, because I really enjoy talking to you. But let's talk about Blazor. So what's new and exciting in Blazor? And someone did ask a question about Blazor components with DevExpress. So maybe you can kind of combine the two.
Okay, let me get a quick rundown of that. And I want to talk about XAF. This is one thing that I want to make sure that we cover before we finish the show. So, Blazor. I have never been a web developer. I have always been doing mobile. I have always been doing desktop. So my focus has always been native. And I have never felt compelled to do like the web because I have never been in love with JavaScript. I know that people love it. Some people hate it.
I don't like
there is a lot of things. It's not my cup of tea. So I have never been on that. So until Blazor, that was not me. Someone on my team take care of that part. When Blazor came up, I decided to give it a try, especially because XAF was doing a new UI framework for Blazor. Because XAF has always been, let's quickly resume that XAF is a framework for DevExpress where with just one code, one single code base, you can deploy to Windows and to web forms. So you have Windows and web. And they tried to do some things in the past about XAF mobile with some type of React and XAF. It was not great.
Yeah.
And then Blazor came to the picture. And Blazor is so good. And we're going to discuss that, why all of those things. But XAF Blazor right now, for me, it will be the future. At some point, XAF Windows Phone will go away. XAF Web Phone will go away. It will be just XAF Blazor because just with XAF Blazor, we're going to be able to deploy to desktop. We're going to be able to deploy to Linux, and we're going to be able to deploy to web. And if everything goes right with MAUI Blazor, we will be able to deploy to native apps, to iOS, to Android, and so on. So let's talk about Blazor for a second. Blazor with we need to at least brief say about Silverlight. Silverlight was a great solution. Everyone loved it. You did XAML, you did CSharp, you did it on the browser, but it was based on plugins, and that came with some security risk. And then when in that time, how we did a rich application was with Flash. And then Apple say, I don't want to Flash anymore. So stop that. So there was no way around. We have to stop Silverlight. Microsoft had to kill it. And there is so much people that they put so much effort on that, even myself a little bit.
I know.
So when WebAssembly came and it was adopted for every browser, and I think that the most important was Safari. When Safari finally said, yes, I'm going to put this as a standard, everything came up. Because right now, and forget about .NET for a second, we can compile any language to that intermediate language that WebAssembly knows, and we're good to go. Yeah. So what Microsoft did really need, it was like, let's compile the .NET runtime to that WASM format. And then we can put all our DLLs, all our CSS, all our JavaScript, and we're good to go. And actually, that's how Blazor works. The first time that you put a URL of Blazor, at least Blazor server, it says, hey, give me a JavaScript client. Take that JavaScript client, open WebSockets, and you start sending information back and forward. If it's WebAssembly, you say, okay, download the WASM runtime. You get it there, and then you can download all your DLLs and runtime. And the part, I'm just saying all of this, but if you are a .NET developer, you don't even need to worry about that. What you need to know is like the same way that you access, you do validation in server and client, it's the same way now. The same library. Before you have to do it in JavaScript in the client and in the CSharp on the browser, on the server. Right now, it's the same code everywhere. So this is really, really interesting and really fast. And they have a copy of your DOM. And the only thing that they send back, if it's Blazor server, is the difference on that HTML. So great technology. After I start doing development with Blazor, now I think that I can say that I'm a web developer. I'm now doing most of the time in CSharp. And the things that I have to do in JavaScript is like an interop. and it's actually called JavaScript interrupt. You have a JS runtime, and the only thing that I care is input and output. Give me the function of all those libraries of JavaScript that have been tested for a long time, or everything that have been done for a long time and stable. And give me what I have to pass and what they will send me back. That's all I need. So I just copy that library, put it on my JavaScript files, and from my code, I say JS runtime invoke, send the parameters that I need, get the response back, and I'm good to go. So it's fast, it's performance, it's a dream come true, because if you have seen web form, if you have seen MVC, every time that you do something, there is a big callback and the whole page refresh, and it's all right now you can even see the only, like, let's say that you only change like a counter. The only thing that you see sent back is that number updating. Right. That's it. It's amazing. So now, if you think about this, all this knowledge that we have, especially if you're a .NET shop, you will be able to reuse it. So we have the developers in our team that start tomorrow, and we say, okay, these 3 next day, I want you to watch all the videos of Blazor train from DevExpress. After they are done with that series, I can put them to do production code. Of course, they will need a little more time to get things, but it's amazing how fast and how productive we can get. And we, especially because we are a DevExpress also shop, DevExpress is bringing all of their controls, because they have an engine for dashboard, they have an engine for report that they are reusing everywhere, and they are tested and they're really good. They have a library, DevExpress data, that all of those things, they are able to put it right away to Blazor. And it's really efficient, really nice. And then XAF, that is the part that we like, use all DevExpress controls. So as soon as there is something new in that part, we're able to use XAF. And how does XAF work? XAF create the database for you. So if we talk about ORM, and this is another topic, because ORM, there is something that people hate, there is something that people like, and that's because it makes the life of the developer easier, but it comes with a price. People get like some type of, like, they abuse of that, because it's so easy to say invoice.invoice.detail.customer.country.zip, and then you are querying seven tables. That lazy loading is easier for the developer, but it only works for 10 records. When you have 11 records, it dies because it's like too many queries for just one small thing. I always say to our devs, if you have to do that by hand, you will think it twice before you do all that amount of things. So XAF gives us the way to have a common layer that you have all your business logic, and it takes care of doing your database, your columns, and it does all your views. And you say, okay, that's neat, because there are other type of frameworks like that. Redsen does something similar, that it does like a scaffold your database, and then you do your CRUDs. But what else has XAF? XAF, that's a security system that has like 10,000 unit testing. So like it's really tested for a lot of years. And it has permission for navigation, permission for actions, permission for type, permission for member, permission for criteria. It also has dashboards integrated. It has reports integrated. It has conditional appearance. It has validation. So it's so much things that you get out of the box that even if you use it as a shell, it's crazy. For example, there is no project that I don't use XAF in one way or another. Even if I'm doing a Xamarin app, I create the admin tool, an admin tool just to change settings here and there in XAF, because it's that easy. It's that easy. And of course, like the Blazor part, like even if we say like Blazor is still new, like Blazor, like WebAssembly was 2020 May when it came GA, and Blazor Server like 1 year before that. So it's still, you like people start comparing like, but Blazor is still not in the same part that React, that Angular. Like those are frameworks that have been for like years and years and years. So let's give it a little bit of room way, and we'll get there. But not only that, reuse those. Call those APIs of JavaScript from your Blazor application. You can use it. There is nothing that prevents you from doing. And actually, I saw a demo in the later ASP.NET community stand-up that blew my mind. They have like a to-do list done in React, and every to-do item was Blazor. So you can mix and match, and then you have MVC, your MVC application, and you can integrate Blazor components. So let's say that you have a huge enterprise application. You cannot migrate that right away. That's utopic. But if you say, okay, I'm going to integrate this page, it will be Blazor. Then next month, I'm going to integrate this other component, will be Blazor. At some point, you will be able to migrate everything, and you will get all the performance, because .NET 6 comes with a lot of performance also on the runtime. You will get all the responsiveness. You will get all those great things that we are accomplished. And at some point, we are not going to need to use JavaScript for us. So this is, in my opinion, amazing.
Yeah, that's the whole JavaScript thing, and especially Microsoft moving away from web forms is kind of why I stopped basically doing a lot of front end web work anymore, because it's like every freaking day a new JavaScript library comes out, and I don't like JavaScript to begin with, and even if you think about security, JavaScript it's a lot of issues with security if you're using JavaScript to connect to backend APIs and things like that. And so at least with the server side of Blazor, you don't have to worry about any of that stuff, right? And I don't know about the DevExpress stuff you were just talking about. Is kind of why I'm bringing it up, is that one thing the developers need to stop before they start going into a framework is thinking about security, because they're going to hit that sometime, right? Especially these days, security is a big deal, and whatever framework you have or using to do something that's customer facing, you need to learn about the security impacts of that before you start doing it, right? Because otherwise you'll get all the way down the end of the project going, oh wait, now we can't use this because there's too many security holes, right? And
that's exactly right.
Yeah,
that's exactly right. And think about this, for my opinion, if there are a few things that you need to take in account in your design. There's security, there is data access, and there is performance. Right. And those three things you need to start thinking about from the beginning.
Right.
And of course, you can do some repair down the road, but it's always going to cost you more time, more resources, more everything. And think about, let's talk about security to start with. Convenience is the opposite. It's the enemy of security. Everything that you can do really easy, believe me, it's going to be secure. So you need to think about that, how we're good at doing that. And there is so many tools right now that you can take advantage, that it comes with best practice in mind, that it comes and the episode that about the Rockin the Code World with Christian Mascot, sorry if I'm pronouncing that right. That was a really good episode. He talks about all those security concerns. And that's really important, because why don't use, for example, I'm an advocate for DevExpress XAF, because I think that it's really good for developing line of business application, but that security system has been tested for years and years. You have millions of users. It has 10,000 unit tests. Why would you want to roll up your own security system? That doesn't make any sense. Don't do it. Don't do it. Use Azure Active Directory. Use Azure B2C. B2C is just configuration on the portal, and you will have Facebook, Twitter, any OAuth provider. You will have local accounts. You will have multi-factor authentication. You will have conditional policies. So those are already taken care for you, and you don't even have to save this password in your databases. You don't have to do nothing. So don't do it. Let the one that, and they also have a service level agreement with a lot of nines. I don't know exactly how many nines, but a lot of nines that that, hey, they are taking care of security. Don't do it yourself. That's the first thing. About, for example, data access and performance. Every ORM, it will come with some type of N+1 issue. It will come with some type of lazy load. So I do like ORMs if you take the time to understand how everything is happening under the hood. And then you can tweak it. All of them have ways to do those tweakings. For example, and I like XPO because I have been using for a long time, and because it's performance, and we have a lot, and we can talk about that performance benchmark and everything else. But even Entity Framework, all of them, they give you a way to avoid all those issues. And they can give you a way also to log when you're having too many queries. Where is that query coming from? You can log that, and you can know, okay, this call from this method that I'm calling here. Why do I have to call all this data? Why I'm loading all of this? I don't need it. So all those are conversations that you need to have from the beginning, because it will save you a lot of time. And believe me, all of those ORM, the good thing is you can do a prototype for a client for next day. But that will only work with 5 records. Please take the time to make it better. And data access. And this is the same issue. When you abstract the data access, you need to make sure that that is not boundly tied to your UI, so you can test it. it's separate, and then that you have all those integration tests, that you have everything that you need in place, so you make sure that there is not going to be a block deck, and if there is, you create a new test and you move forward, you fix it and move forward. But I cannot say enough how many clients we have worked that they don't have 0 unit tests, 0 integration tests.
No.
They have 0 everything. It's like it works or it doesn't work by eye. So we tested, and if it works, hopefully it works forever. That's just a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, I've told this story multiple times where I worked at this company a while ago, and one of the first days I was there, one of the managers came up to me and said, "Oh, so Dave, we're going to give you admin access to our production servers so you can push code and stuff like that." And I said, the first thing out of my mouth was, "How many unit tests do you have?" And he said, "None." And I go, don't give me access. I won't do it.
Absolutely not.
Because I'm not pushing something I'm not comfortable with. I said right to his face, I said, if you feel comfortable doing it, you can do it because it'll be your responsibility, but I'm not going to do it without unit tests. Right. And
so we do a lot
there's no company that I've been to that even hits the proper unit test percentage markets, and none. And which is really sad. And I think, unfortunately, Microsoft, this is just my 2 cents, but Microsoft is kind of, they did have a really cool thing to help us do unit tests, and they abandoned that, which really upsets me. And I'm trying to get it back. I even have a thing on their, on their roadmap. They're looking at it, but it really upsets me. But before we go on to the next thing, I wanted to make sure I answered. Somebody asked a question about multiple databases logins with Blazor. I don't think we need to really discuss that. The multiple login thing is just like you would do in any other app, right? It's not really Blazor specific. So you would handle that. To me, you would handle that the same way you would do any other app. Simon says, "I secretly love JavaScript," and you're wrong, Simon. So that's not true. And there's something about an image file. I'm not sure if that's really in this. I don't know if you can answer this. I certainly can't.
I'm not 100% sure what they mean there, because again, if you have a .NET API backend, you will be saving that image in that server. You will not be saving in the front end in Angular. So that's kind of confusing there. But definitely, like if you have an Angular, that's any front end app. Everything that you want to protect, you save it on the server. You don't save it on the client, because anyone can access that. So.
And someone did ask the last question, Simon, that just came in. DevExpress, is it possible to use to integrate XAF Blazor with Azure security?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, XAF Blazor already come out of the box. And again, at some point, we're going to have to give you some type of a show how XAF Blazor looks, but it comes with out of the box. When you click File New and you select the wizard and you do everything, you can select Windows Active Directory. You can select the normal local account, and you can select any OAuth provider. You can even select Facebook, GitHub. You, of course, have to do all this configuration in either platform, because you need to go to Facebook Developer and create an app there, register it, and put the keys and so on. But you can integrate XAF Blazor with all those choices. And the great thing about XAF Blazor security is that it's so much grain control. And for everyone who is looking, this is free right now. You don't have to use it with XAF. You can use XAF Blazor security by itself in any application. And they have example for Windows Forms. They have example for WPF. They have example for Blazor Server and WebAssembly. They have example for Xamarin. So you can reuse that security system any .NET app. This is a .NET actually in Mono. Like we are already like going away from Mono because we have .NET Core, but you can still use it in Xamarin. You can use it in web form, in MVC. So I highly recommend it, especially after you get used to it. It's so neat. You can say, I don't want my user to check this navigation on my navigation control. I don't want my user to click on that action. I don't want my user to let's say in an object, I will say, I want my user to only have access to my customer that the name is David. So that control, you have it with the security system. So it's really, really, really good. Yeah,
and that's something that, I wish companies like some that I've worked with even recently would realize that there's these really great third-party products out there you know, and that allow you to do things like that very simple, very easily, right? But far too many companies like to roll their own and write it from scratch, and I just don't know why you do that these days. You know, I've written and talked about this a lot. Is, you know, why are you reinventing the wheel when almost everything we need is there, right?
But it always bites them back. We have had performance review or this type of project where the client is like, I need to do something. My client will cancel on me.
Yeah.
And when we go and check, it's like, what did you do all of this by yourself? You can use this. And then our solution is like, okay, I'm going to implement it again. And in a week we have it done. And they are like, how do you did this that fast that we took us like years? And it's like, we use the right tools. It's like you cannot fix a car trying to do something with your hands. You need to have a tool. And they just like, and again, for me, one of the things why XAF is not more popular is the financial part. Not everyone want to pay $2,000 for a license.
Right.
But believe me, you will make that real quick.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
doing things fast. So in my opinion, for example, let's talk about this thing. We have MAUI, we have Uno, and we have XAF. And there are three different products. I don't say they are competing between each other by no means. But I will say, when UWP came up, it was like the universal Windows things that will be going to be everywhere. And Uno platform was able to use the UWP SAML and put it in iOS and put it on Android and put it everywhere. So that was like crazy good. But Xamarin Forms had already taken up that place. And then they have a different SAML dialect. But in my opinion, if Uno platform was like, I don't know, more marketing or was before, Uno platform should be, because it was the SAML that all the Windows developer, WPF, UWP, was able to use. And now, like Xamarin Forms, I really like it. I actually learned first the Xamarin Forms SAML than the UWP. So I will go more about MAUI and about Xamarin Forms than Uno. But either way, I think about the big picture of Microsoft. And it should have been Uno, because it's the SAML that they are used to. And now let's think about XAF. XAF doesn't even have SAML. XAF is C# completely. And you can use Visual Basic, not in Blazor. Blazor is not going to support Visual Basic for now. But with XAF, you will be able to use your C# and all the views get generated for you. That means list view, detail view, lookup view. So as your model grows, so let's say that you have more classes and more entities, you don't have to do nothing. All those classes get created for you. All those views get created for you. The tables in your database, they get created for you. The columns, of course, I always say that to everyone. Don't think that means that you won't have to do any database maintenance. Every app needs some type of SQL execution plan. You need to, like, as soon as you start to grow, you're going to start finding more things that you have to tune up. But to get started, you have a lot of things going on for you there that you don't have to manage any low-level task, any database column creation, any views creation. So you only do it when you say, okay, my client wants this view to be a Kanban board. Okay, let's add the control of Kanban board and let's fix that. But only on the part that is needed. Everywhere else, the UI is beautiful. So, and I have to say kudos to the DevExpress team for that framework.
We're almost out of time. So if anybody has any last minute questions, please do that. And if you use pound DevExpress, you could win a copy of DevExpress Universal, which is worth about $2,000. But before we run out of time, which we're almost there, I did want to talk a little bit about, you know, you're from Cuba. So tell us a little bit about that. And you said you wanted to talk about Cuba. So what do you want to talk about Cuba and your story maybe coming here, you know?
That's right. Basically, it's like the surreal experience that me being here. So again, I'm looking at the YouTube channel where you have interviewing Jeremy Lickness that I have been following like forever. You have interviewed Jerome Levan, that is, in my opinion, what he did with, I'm not sure about the number, but he have a lot of people developing UWP, and he say, I need to target iOS and Android. And they say, okay, I'm going to make the dependency object and interface. I'm going to generate code and compile time to make sure that the view from UWP becomes a UI view on iOS. It becomes an Android view. So he did this crazy thing that, in my opinion, is like black magic. So me being here in the same scenario like that you are, like for 15 years MVP and all of those is surreal. I still feel myself like a kid from Cuba. And I came here to the US like 11 years ago, and I didn't know the language. I didn't know anyone. My sister didn't know anyone. In Cuba, everyone touched your door and say, hey, if you have some sugars. I was here, and it was like 10 months, and no one ringed the bell. It's like, it's like so different thing, because I didn't have the language. I didn't have anything. My first work was landscaping, dishwashing. So doing everything that I could to support my family, because I want to bring my family here. And then I found XAF. And this is one of the things that I love more about XAF. XAF gave me the like, I would say, the perspective, like I can do great things. I can do by myself a software for a whole company. And I went to one of my first coding interview, and I saw what they were doing, and they were doing a WPF app, and they have been like 4 people doing an app with reports and with some type of forms, and like for a year or something. And I say to myself, of course, I didn't say that to them because that's not humble. I would say, I said, I can do that in 3 months with XAF. So that gave me the motivation that I can make. And actually, that's what it moved me from electrical engineer to software, because I was actually going, because in Cuba, I was a automatic engineer. And when I got here, I was trying to find anything that it was close to automatic so I can finish quickly. And I took electrical. And in my way there, I say, this is not what I want to do. I want to do software. And I started taking only the classes that I have to do for my class. Everything else was like computer science, was system, operative system, and so on. So in my mind, like being here and having all those possibilities to actually grow, to actually do all of those things, and all the amount of knowledge that is in the community, I have to like be grateful for where I'm at. When I got my first MVP, DevExpress was first. It was like, I cannot believe it. And when Microsoft actually gave it as well, I was like, I think that exactly. And those are like things that is just not, in my opinion, not a big thing, because I don't think that I'm better than anyone because I'm an MVP. But it's some little bit of satisfaction that you say, hey, like,
you're getting recognized for all of your hard work and everything you've done.
And especially because you enjoy it. Like I saw the podcast about Abel Guam, the Azure DevOps, that he was having cancer, and he was talking with Hanselman. He was saying, I know that I have not much time, but this is what I enjoy to do. So this is what I want to do, what I like. Like, for example, for you, maybe it's a guitar. I like to do coding, but this is what I like to do. So I enjoy just talking. Like this Saturday with me, it made my day, probably made my month. So just talking about this is just awesome. So I just want to say, everyone, not only because Cuba, because it's also has a lot of political things that we're not going to get into it. It doesn't have the same community as Mexico. It doesn't have the same community as Dominican. It doesn't have the same community. So I want to say to everyone who is looking in India, in Cuba, in Latin America, anywhere, hey, it's just about, if you put the effort, if you put your time, you can make it happen. It's just up to you.
Yep. So we are out of time now. Let's answer one question really quick before I let you go. And that is, the last question was, which has better performance, XAF, XPO, or EF?
So
in your opinion?
In my opinion, it doesn't matter what is the ORM that you're using. If it can be XPO identity framework, it's about you, your design. What are you doing? How are you? What data are you loading? Are you bringing more than you need? What is the view that you're showing? We can discuss this forever. So I personally like XPO more. And XPO, one thing that it has is stable. XPO has been in the market for like, I think 2003, and the breaking changes are minimal. Entity framework, is a good solution, and I really like Entity Framework Core. But it has gone to so many phases, to so many refactors. It has a lot of breaking change, so it's not my favorite. But with Entity Framework Core, they have done a really good job. So I will not take that from them. XPO is really good. Entity Framework is really good. And we actually have synchronization framework. That's another topic for both of those ORM. But it's not the tool. It's yourself. And I always say, everyone, .NET is not better than ROS. .NET is not better. It's your knowledge. It's your so it's what you put into it. And the great thing that I like right now is that the tooling is catching up. So if you like JavaScript, you can compile the same JavaScript to React Native, to React, to the web, to iOS. If you like .NET, you can compile that same code to all of them. So it's up to you. It's not up to the tool.
So I do have to let you go now because Simon's going to get mad at me because he's always after me if we go over an hour. So the last question to you before I let you go is, what do you do for fun besides coding? That's not coding.
Okay, so let's take coding away because I do like coding. And not only coding, like reading about coding, watching videos about coding. Like a lot of time is like if you learn more, the ideas of how you can, what you can accomplish increase because you say this one I can do it if I use this, if I use that. But I like mountain biking a lot. I'm 33 now, and the last time that I mountain bike, I broke my back for a little, like 3 weeks out of that. But I really like mountain biking. I started recently doing some jiu-jitsu. I think that for us that we're always sitting down, anything that is a physical activity is really good. And the other time, like 99% is with my daughter. Spending time with my daughter there. So
well, your family's number one, right?
Yeah.
Sure. Well, your family should always be number one.
Actually, this mug, it was my daughter and myself painting it together.
Well, I actually have a business card holder my son made for me when he was little. When I was before I was dotNetDave, I was VB Dave. And so I have this right on my desk here. It's now like my iPhone holder.
Yeah, that's more important than everything. Look, my iPhone. This is like my daughter draw and the sticker that she put in there. So that's what matters.
Yeah. Well, I got to let you go. And I didn't say this before, but make sure you submit papers for the .NET conference in January that we're doing. So,
I will definitely do.
Yeah.
And please let me know about the winner of the DevExpress Universal License. I just need
Yes, we're going to do that. We're going to do that in just a second. Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot for the invitation, Dave.
Yeah, it's great talking to you. Well, that was great. I really enjoyed talking to Jose. He's really on the ball and has his. To me, he's got his head in the right place, and that's where I think a lot of us need to be, especially these days. And someone said hi from Afghanistan, so thank you. I've been getting some hits from Afghanistan, and now I know who's doing it. All right, so let's go back to the slide, Simon. I've been putting all of my code performance book up on my website, so I hope you go check it out. It's it's a whole big page for all the articles. I'm releasing a new article every business day for the next. I've been doing it for a couple of weeks now, and I'm going to be doing it all the way into December, I think. So make sure you go back to that page often. And like I said, I'm releasing a new article every single business day. So I hope you check it out. All right. And with that, we're going to give away, everybody wins a copy of Code Rush from DevExpress. I know we've been talking a lot about DevExpress on this episode, but Code Rush from DevExpress is the only refactoring tool that I use. And if you're just using the refactoring that's built into Visual Studio, stop it and go download your free copy of Code Rush from DevExpress. Just go to devexpress.com/dotnetdave. It's a free, real copy. It's not stripped down or anything. And so make sure you do that because that's what I use every day that I'm coding. And now that I'm reviewing and fixing a lot of code, I'm using DevExpress all day, every day. My fingers are getting tired. So check that out. And now we're going to do, I've decided to kind of mix up some of the segments I do at the very end of the show. I've been doing new code rules for a while, and now I've decided to bring back some of my older segments. Simon, do you have the video? It should be, hopefully you have it. I think we talked about this on Monday. Let me double check with Simon. Yes, he has it. Okay. So I'm going to bring back a couple of my older video series I used to do, and one of them is 256 seconds with dotNetDave. This is an older one, but I'm working on some new ones. I'm still editing. So here's an older one. I hope you like it. And I look way different in this. Hi, welcome to another episode of 256 Seconds with dotNetDave. I'm David McCarter. I'm glad you're back. I told you it wouldn't be so long since the last one, and it hasn't been. It's only been a couple weeks. In this episode, I'm going to talk about an article that I'm releasing on CSharpCorner.com and also on my website called Improve your model classes with object-oriented programming, part 1, the basics. And the reason I came up with this was because of questions I'm getting from interns and junior programmers in the team I'm currently contracting with. Their first question was basically how to properly design model classes. We use NAD framework on these projects a lot, so we have a lot of model classes. I thought I'd do a series of articles and a series of videos to properly design classes with object-oriented programming in mind from the ground up. So if you read the beginning of the article, it shows you a bad code example. And then we start talking about encapsulation, which is the first pillar of object-oriented programming. And you've got to get this right. And in my book, if you can't, then I have little hope that inheritance and polymorphism will be done correctly either. So the whole thing about encapsulation is data hiding. The data that your model class contains should only be accessed through properties and methods. That's it. No public fields ever, ever, ever. Actually, you shouldn't do that in any class. But with model classes, you definitely should not do that. The class we're going to, if you read the article, I do talk about encapsulation. I give the proper definition. And then I go into data hiding, and then I talk about the first major concept with this article, and that's validating the data. So if you look at a lot of model classes, they probably look like this. And here's the type we're going to be using through these series of articles called person. And we have address 1 and ID and born on, things like that. So this is typically what I see with model classes. And this is not object-oriented programming. Yes, you're using properties, which is better than fields, but the big thing here is you're not validating the data. And that's the big thing with encapsulation. You don't let bad data into your type. Bad data in, bad data out. And if that bad data gets to the database, it's very difficult to fix it and very costly. So let's look how we would do person correctly. So here's my person class that's I fixed for this article. It has proper documentation that StyleCop likes. And I use a program called GoStock to do this. It's free. It's an extension of Visual Studio, and why you're not using it is beyond me. But anyway, I document everything, including fields. So let's look at address 1. So here's address 1. It's a property, which is proper object-oriented programming, but the encapsulation part is in the set. So you can see here, I'm checking to make sure the values aren't the same, the value being sent in isn't the address 1 that's already there, because why set it if it's already there? And this becomes more important with programs like written in WPF, because typically in a lot of programs like that, when a value changes, you also throw an event. So this prevents that for the future. So might as well just do it in the beginning. You can see here on the next if statement, I'm checking is null or empty. And if it is, I'm throwing the proper exception, which is argument null exception. Because if it's null or empty, we don't want to set address. And then number 3 here is really the most important part, is making sure address 1 is in the length that the business rules define it as. And usually it's the business rules and or the configuration in the database. So in this instance, I'm making sure the address is not under 10 characters and not over 256 characters. If they are, then I throw argument out of range exception. If they're not, then I set address and everybody's happy. If you look at the rest of the class, it's almost exactly the same thing except for born on. And I'm making sure that everything is in the proper range before I set it. This is how you do encapsulation. And like I said, you can also use methods, but for model classes, you're really using properties. So for these series of articles, we're going to be using a lot of properties. So that's pretty much it for this article. It's just to show you how to do proper encapsulation with validation. So are we done? No, we're not. There's still a couple more things we need to do to this type to make it better. And we'll tackle that in the next article and in the next video. I hope you got something out of this. I hope this explained the article better, or maybe the article explains this better. Please let me know how you like this video for the article. If you have any burning questions about .NET, please email me. If I use your question in an article, I will send you a dotnettips.com coffee mug anywhere in the world. Wherever you live, I will send it to you. Please send me your questions and comments to dotnetdave@live.com. And with that, I'll see you next time on 256 Seconds with dotNetDave. Can you tell I don't like talking to myself? I was going, man, that guy is boring. Just kidding. I think I'm a little better now that I've been forced into talking to my computer for a couple of years now. So anyway, I'm going to be doing more of those. I really like that article. If you go check it out on CSharpCorner, there's a whole series of it. Because quite frankly, I was watching my own video and I was going, man, I wish I would see code like that when I went into a new company, but I don't. And so I don't know what the deal is. So anyway, check those articles out, the videos out, and I'll be talking more. Object-oriented programming is one of my favorite subjects. And so I always talk about that. So Simon, you ready to give away the DevExpress Universal, which is worth $2,000? So Simon's going to draw the winner, and Simon can't win. CSharpCorner can't win, and just people. So let's see who wins. All right, Ganesh, you won the DevExpress Universal. Congratulations. We need your email address. So either put it in the chat if you feel comfortable, or DM me through Twitter if you don't, or some other more private way of doing that. And we'll get that out. Jose will get that out to you right away. But we need your email address. That's all we need. All right. Congratulations. I hope you like it. And let us know how you like DevExpress Universal. So I'm taking next week off. Hopefully I don't get sick next Saturday because I'm going to my very first guitar trade show. So I'm really excited about that, going with one of my best buddies that I play guitar with here in San Diego. So hopefully I won't be sick. But in 2 weeks, I'm having back my very first guest on my show, and that's Scott Hunter, one of the 3 Scotts in Microsoft world, back on my show in 2 weeks. And we're going to be talking about all new things .NET 6. And so I'm really excited to talk with Scott. I haven't really talked to him in a while. I haven't talked to him in a year, because the last time I talked to him, not in person, but in some manner, was when he was first on my show. So make sure you come back for that. That will be an awesome episode. Well, all the episodes are awesome, but this one will be special because Scott's on it. Please be safe. And listen to your medical professionals about COVID-19 and the pandemic. I just found out yesterday that Russia is back on lockdown. So we are not over this, people. And so please get vaccinated. Please get your kids vaccinated now in America, which you can starting next week. And if you have a few spare minutes, and I'm talking minutes, please donate blood at your local blood bank. All the blood banks around the world are in a dire need of blood right now because of everything that's been going on for the last couple years. And so when I donate blood, there's a picture of me donating blood when I reached 10 gallons, which now I'm 13 gallons. And they hook me up to a machine and they extract my platelets and plasma for 2 hours. So I go through a really long process when I donate, and I reward myself. I always schedule my donations at 10 a.m. because it takes 2 hours. And at 12 o'clock, I go next door to the blood bank and I eat sushi at my favorite sushi place in San Diego. So that's kind of my little reward to myself for being on a machine for 2 freaking hours. So, but you don't have to do that. donating blood takes like 30 minutes. And so please go donate blood. If I'm talking to all you guys out there that you have to do yard work and stuff like that on the weekends. The cool thing is if you donate on the weekends, you can't do any work for 24 hours. So you could just kick back and watch the game or learn something new on Pluralsight. I don't know. But please donate blood. If you do and tweet me proof and you live in the United States, I will send you swag. I've got boxes of swag up in my attic that I want to get rid of. So please donate blood and please let me know you did it so I can send you some swag. All right. And with that, thanks everybody. Please email me your suggestions, comments. If you want to make suggestions for everything, even like 256 seconds, please email me there at rockinthecodeworld@csharpcorner.com. And with that, I'll see you in 2 weeks.